Like to weigh in on uh, all of the doom predictors, all of the people saying we're on the edge of a quote unquote black swan event. Um, and it seems like you see there's a lot of this lately. Um, with various events that take place. They say this is the first. This is what's going to kick it off. Here we go. Uh, what's the phrase? How does the phrase go? It's so it begins. There's all this cheesy kind of melodramatic movie. Kind of. I mean, so much of our apprehension, so much of our imagination is informed by movies, and I'm not accepting myself. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else in that regard, because I'm the same way. Um, and it's not completely a bad thing, but I think it's something that we should be aware of and cognizant of, and maybe uh, self-critical about. So the latest thing is this whatever happened, this peculiar event in Baltimore with the bridge that got knocked down somehow. I don't know the details. It's one of those things where that there have been news stories like this that a lot lately in the last year or so, where it's like I see some something somewhere, alluding to this event, alluding to something that has happened, and I intentionally don't follow up on it. I intentionally remain uninformed, and that's what I've done so far with this Baltimore thing. But and my reasons for doing that is I just don't want to get like I've said before. I think there's something to be said for not getting all sucked into the morass of something. Now, I'm not judging anybody who does look closer at these kinds of things, because you know if I run across a news story, and I'm not a newsy guy, I've said that before myself. But if I run across something that is of interest to me, like the Diddy thing, um, you know, that's gonna draw my attention. I'm gonna look a little more closely at that. The Diddy thing draws my attention just because of its relationship to Pizzagate and related issues, pedogate, generally speaking. But but anyway, you know, and, with this, with as far as these predictions about we're going to have a black swan event, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Um, you know, I wanted to say just to share just a couple things. First of all, there's a line in scripture that says, "No man knows the day or the hour." Um, but it will happen when it comes. It will happen. It will come like a thief in the night. And of course, this is a bit of scripture is about the return of Christ, or the apocalyptic times, the end times, as they're called often today. Um, but what's interesting about that is there's other scripture that says, well, what will we see? You'll see signs in the heavens. This will happen. That'll happen, and then so there's some parts of scripture that say it's not going. It's gonna. There'll be all these signs that point to the end times, and then another one says, you know, it's going to come like a thief in the night. So always be prepared, be ready at all times, because you don't know when it's going to happen. Um, so that's a little confusing, isn't it? Scripture in some places tells us one thing, some places tells us something different, and that's something that that's one of those reasons why sola scriptura, it just doesn't work, uh, because scripture is not self-interpreting, and so you have to have you have to rely on something external uh, to understand scripture, some external authority, because if each of us just reads and comes to our own conclusions, then it's going to be, every man for himself, and no order whatsoever, um, no coherence whatsoever. So that was a little off ramp. I didn't mean to get off of. So pardon me for that. But let me just stick to the point that I'm making. Let's stick to the thief in the night notion. I think, uh, you know, first of all, I don't think it's great to just get bent out of shape about worrying about what's going to happen, what they're going to try, and when they're going to try it, and what form it's going to take, and so forth. You know, I'm I'm well aware. Um, I'm not a naysayer. I'm not a debunker at all. Uh, if y'all know me at all, you know that. I know that they are up to no good. I know that, and hopefully you know that. But as far as the idea of, um, oh, this is going to happen, so now expect it all to kick off, um, you know, in the next week or so. I just think that's foolish, and like same goes for people saying, day of the comet, the day of the eclipse, when a comet will be visible, or something like that. That's going to be the big. That's the day that everything's gonna. I don't know when things are gonna start to really happen. Um, in all likelihood, that day it's April 8th, right? In all likelihood, that day will come and go, and the eclipse will happen, and people will see the comet in the sky, and things won't change. And then April 9th will arrive, and you know, that's more often than not the case. When things actually do happen, they catch you by surprise. I mean, most of us. I guess there were some people who saw September 11th coming. Some people who said there's an event like this that's about to happen. Um, uh, what's his name said it? Not Alex Jones, but I can't think of his name right. Bill Cooper said something uh, um, to that tune, speaking in summer of 2001. He said something big is gonna be some big disaster, or some big terrorist attack. They'll blame it on Bin Laden. Um, so that's a scoreboard right there for Mr. Cooper, R.I.P. And I'm not saying, I mean, like, some people make apt predictions. Some people make astute. Uh, some people read the tea leaves, or see the signs in the sky, or whatever it is that they do, or they just intuit something. Um, but those people are few and far between. Most of us are not like that. Most of us are just, you know, we don't have that kind of insight. We don't have that kind of prescience. And I would include myself as one of those people. I am no prophet, and here's no great matter. But uh, for but we know things are going down. We know that we're in a time when things are going down. So you do have to be uh, be ready. But on the other hand, you can't be too like in my estimation, if you're um, overly credulous about what people are saying about this or that or the other thing. They've been talking about supply chains now for what, 3 years or so, and I don't know. I would have thought that by now all the grocery stores in my area would be mostly empty because the breakdown of supply chains and so forth and so on. That hasn't happened. Um, that's that again, though. That's not me saying that things like that won't happen. It's just me saying, uh, if I really listened to what the prophets of doom were saying in 2021, uh, you know, I would have I would have driven myself absolutely batty. You know, um, it's not good to live too close to, like, it's not good to strain always to try to hear the beginning of a rumbling of the big earthquake. You know, it's not good to be uh, a canary in a coal mine. You don't want to live your life like a canary in a coal mine. Like the old song by the Police puts it. So yeah, I'm not saying be stupidly optimistic, but I am saying don't be trigger happy. I am saying be properly uh, skeptical. The old phrase, I guess it's been ascribed to Ronald Reagan: trust but verify. Um, something like that is good. I don't even know why you should trust. Why trust? You know, I would just say verify, or don't verify. Don't you don't you. That's again. You don't. If there's a story out there saying this looks like trouble, it's going down. It's going down. The zombie apocalypse has started. I saw something on some social media about some guy in California, with a human leg, munching on a human leg. Did y'all see this? Um, you know, it's certainly a macabre sort of story. Um, but I would just say, uh, you know, step back from that ledge. Uh, don't be so quick to think uh, that it's going down. That now it's going down for sure. Uh, here's a definite sign that it's going down. And when there are people out there who are, if you're following people who are constantly talking about how it's going down, uh, I would humbly suggest uh, not paying attention to those people. You know, there is enough to be stressed about. There is plenty enough to be stressed about uh, without taking on all of this stuff. You know, um, And and I really do think it's true that no man knows the day or the hour. You know, and while it may be true that you'll see signs, in the sky, and there'll be earthquakes and tornadoes and what have you. The thing is, like, there have always been signs in the sky. There always have been earthquakes and tornadoes, uh, and some of it's valid. Some of that is, you know, I'm not a materialist. Uh, I'm not. I don't disbelieve in prophecy, in the ability, in the fact that some people maybe are gifted with prophetic uh, powers, but on the other hand, or psychic powers. On the other hand, I think you just can get lost. You can get lost in the minutia, and a lot of it just seems, or you can just get lost in uh, the naysaying, the gloom merchanting, the fear mongering. Um, and I would just suggest that's not the best way to live. Okay, that's where I'll end this. This is already too long, and it's been very rambly. I understand. Uh, and thank you. God bless you if you watch this through to the very end. But I think I've made my point. So thanks for listening.